Hi, and welcome to Atlanta Homes and Lifestyles, to our webinar with designer Lauren Davenport Imber to
Okay.
discuss her October 2020 cover feature for Atlanta Homes and Lifestyles. It is a fabulous feature about a great family that I will let her explain. Um, and the subject matter is incredibly relevant today. But first, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Signature Kitchen Suite, and they can be found at Guy Gunter Home, Ferguson, North Point Appliance, and Howard Payne. Also, for all of you viewing, please know that you can find the October issue of Atlanta Homes and Lifestyles on the Atlanta Homes and Lifestyles website, and you can order it there if you're not already a subscriber. We would love you to be a subscriber, so please join us for these webinars and all issues. While we do this webinar, we will be accepting questions for Lauren. However, we're going to hold those to the end. And if you could please click on the Q&A at the bottom of your screen and submit your questions, and then we'll review those at the end. Lauren created this home. Actually, Lauren, I think this was probably photographed over a year ago, and no one knew how relevant this would be at this time after COVID, because the feature is actually about, hold on, I'm clicking all of you. Can all of you see this screen? Let's see, Lauren, can you see the screen?
Yes, I can see the screen.
Okay, great. Okay, so our subject is from second home to primary residence. And basically, Lauren, I will let you explain, but this is a very interesting story that we're seeing more and more of because of COVID. But it's really about a family that decided to leave the city. And who knew that by the time this issue ran, we would be in a global pandemic and seeing a mass exodus from many cities. And so this story resonates with a lot of people, not just in Atlanta, but all over the country. So with that in mind, on the homepage, you can follow Lauren on her Instagram, her website. We'd also like to thank photographer Emily Followell for her beautiful images, and Eleanor Roper Styling, whose styling was phenomenal on this project. And again, Signature Kitchen Suite, also, we want to thank you, and your Instagram is on here as well. So Lauren, I will let you take it and explain to us who your clients are and how this project started.
Well, first of all, let me thank you so much for having me today. And thank you to everyone that's joining us. I'm real excited to talk about this project. It was a very special project. And Suzanna is right. This project was photographed over a year ago, last fall. And these clients were, or are, fifth generation Atlantans that kind of headed for the country. They wanted to get out of the rat race of the city and really focus on spending more quality time together and kind of getting back to nature and really being able to have, that quality family time that sometimes living in the city you miss out on with, kids and sports and access to everything. So yes, it was very fortuitous for sure. This project is south of Atlanta. It's about 30 minutes south of the airport, and it's literally living in a whole nother world. It is amazing. Every time I go out there, I see, animals and just things that you don't see every day in the city, which is beautiful. And that's what that photo was showing. The first thing you see, when you come onto the property, besides, just gorgeous landscaping and nature and trees, or the barn and the chickens walking around and the pigs, out rooting around and grazing, and the horses in the field. So it feels like another world, which I absolutely love. And, again, that was kind of the point, is to get out and get back to nature. So in designing this house, we really wanted to pay respect to the natural surroundings and really incorporate some of the nature and things into the home. But at the same time, always at the forefront of the mind is, okay, this is, a farm. There are plenty of dogs and dirt and horses and animals that could be, tracked inside the home. So that was always kind of the first thing on the forefront of my mind, is how will this perform with animals? How will this hold up to dirt?
So,
And Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
So one of the things that was most interesting about this, as we look at this, is that this is only about an hour outside of the city of Atlanta or Buckhead, but it's really only about 30 or 40 minutes from the airport. So it's actually very proximate to the city, yet it's out
Yes.
in this exquisite country.
Mm-hmm.
So people would not necessarily realize that, but this home had been previously built, correct? Can you, when they contacted you, um, because the husband is working, and so he's traveling and going in and out of the city and traveling, and they have two children who are in school.
They do.
So this is not just um, a couple moving to the country. This is actually a family living and working in and around the city, raising children. This is not just this only a bucolic life. It is a bucolic life, but still very much a part of um, work and school and friends and family in the city. So that's one of the things that made this very interesting, because when you look at these photos, it looks like a fabulous weekend retreat,
Mm-hmm.
but it's actually how they live every day. And so, can you speak to us a little bit about the house? They found you, if you want to explain how they found you, and then the existing home.
Okay. So these clients found me from a leave behind card that I'd left at my sister's floral shop in Serenbe. And Serenbe is kind of it's a community also close to this home, that has, lots of arts and culture and wonderful restaurants. So that was important, even while moving out to the country, that they did have some accessibility to, restaurants and culture and things. And that's how these clients found me. Excuse me. And the home was previously built when they started talking about moving outside of the city. There was a large list of requirements or things that the husband wanted in the house before he would agree to move outside of the city. And the home had extensive renovations. It was built in the 90s, and they came in and reconfigured several of the spaces, changed a bedroom into a bar area, giving the master bedroom more closet space and things like that. It was pretty much anything that's architectural in this home has been updated. All of the wood paneling that was added, as you can see in this photo, the very formal foyer. This is how you walk into the home, and all of the, limed oak paneling was added, and the beautiful hardwood floors. So it does have a very formal feel, but yet it lives very casually, and they live in every single space of this home.
Well, one of the things that was interesting to me about this is actually when you look at these first photos, this home could be in any city. It doesn't resonate farm. There's some very formal architectural elements, but it's how this house transitions through this front door out to the back and what's beyond that's so interesting. And so, as you said, it's very formal. These hardwood floors, the herringbone inlay, the lime wash paneling, all of these things are formal. And then when you get into the dining room, this was the real surprise when I saw this.
So in this home, they had several family heirlooms and antiques that they wanted to incorporate into the overall design. And one of those was the dining room table and the Queen Anne chairs and the kind of Georgian federal style sconces. So it was about incorporating, okay, what's going to work that's going to be comfortable but yet formal. And we added some of the architectural details, the built-ins and the paneling. And this is it is a very formal dining room compared to the rest of the home. The window treatments are a hand-painted velvet, which you wouldn't think of a hand-painted velvet in a country setting, but it works. It just adds that little bit of sparkle. I don't even know if I would call it sparkle, just another layer with the velvet and the texture and the hand painting that one wouldn't expect to find in such a rural setting of a home. But this home it surprises at every turn, which is what I love. And the
Well,
fact that we did need to incorporate family heirlooms and, special pieces that hold a place in their heart is always fun to incorporate because it gives the home the personality and the character that really makes a house feel like a home.
well, the interesting thing is that I think that velvet, um, it's a soft, buttery velvet. The color's really pretty, but it pops. But what's really pretty, the hand painting relates so much to the farm lifestyle. Even though it's a formal fabric, it relates very much to the organic feeling of this house and the land around it. Another thing that I think is really interesting in this room is the black basalt, because we don't see that black basalt wedgwood a lot. It's exquisite. It is several hundred years old, and yet it's very simple. It's refined and elegant. And so it's very interesting. It creates almost a contemporary visual in those otherwise very formal bookcases. But the ironic part is that it is actually old. Was that something that they had, or did you buy that?
The arrangement in the bookcases kind of started, and I don't know if people can see at the bottom, the hand painted porcelain flowers were a family members and they wanted to be displayed. But we needed to get some other pieces in there to kind of ground that bookcase because it is so large and the scale of the room. And I'm very fortunate. My client has amazing taste and loves to get on the internet and hunt for things. So we talked about, kind of what we wanted to see in the bookcases. And I said, we need something black. There were several of the Wedgwood pieces that she did have, the blue and white Wedgwood pieces, and one of the black and white pieces. So because she loves to do the hunting and finding, and she's fabulous at it too, I kind of told her the direction that we needed to go. And she got on the internet and found these amazing pieces. And it does. The black really helps to ground the bookcase. But at the same time, it is old. But like you said, it does add a very contemporary component to the space.
Yeah, I found that very refreshing and interesting to see that. We don't see that a lot anymore. So as we started and spoke about this, this is on 100-acre farm. It is a large rural property, and yet this house feels refined and elegant, not overly formal, not overly intimidating. It's very inviting. And yet the house does transition to a more relaxed feeling. And that's interesting how this transition takes place, because when you move into really the heart of the home, the kitchen, the morning room, the breakfast area, the family area, you start to see this transition with, you still have the white walls, the beams, the stone, and yet it feels, you can start to feel the transition to a more rustic, more informal, more sort of rural property. And so can you explain to us how you took these very formal front rooms and then pulled this through towards the back? And by the way, I just think that everybody should have a miniature pony with an Hermes blanket in the kitchen. I think
Right?
that completes the house.
It would just make everybody's day just that much
Yeah,
happier.
yeah.
Yeah, so this is really the heart of the home. It's the breakfast room, kitchen, family room area. And this is the door where Sonny is standing in, the miniature horse. That is the door that the family uses and close friends use. They come in and out. Obviously, the animals use that door quite a bit. So this space not only had to be beautiful, but really had to be able to perform with the dirt and the animals that come in. Typically, the people that use the front of the home are guests that are coming, maybe not such close friends. The family does use it quite a bit as well, but in this space, it really kind of becomes a little more relaxed. And, I think that's what's great about this home is even though you have the front formal spaces, which are so much more formal, and the details that you see there, the two spaces definitely relate. Again, repeating with the reclaimed wood and the beams and in the casings and the archway. It this home just flows beautifully. The table itself is a large table, and every time we have meetings or what have you, we sit at that table. There's always a puzzle that the family is working on one end of the table. And they sit here and they eat their meals, and homework gets done, and bills get paid. Just, the everyday life that things tend to happen at this table, which I love. The chairs themselves, the side chairs, are covered in a wool on the back, but the seats are a vinyl. So if a muddy dog happens to rub up next to it or things get spilled, it's easy cleanability in this space. And kind of, repeating the rustic, the antique chandelier that hangs over the table and the reclaimed beams. On the photo on the left-hand side of the archway that goes into the office area and mudroom and laundry room area, we added that great wood veneer wallpaper, again, to kind of add some interest, but continue that rustic wood theme that you see throughout the house, even in the more formal spaces.
And so now the place that everyone gravitates towards is this fabulous kitchen with this massive island. Although it's massive, but it doesn't, because it's open. There's a lot of light in here. There's a lot of light in this house. Mm-hmm. A lot of light, a great flow. So this house, this kitchen appears old, but this was actually a full gut on this kitchen and a complete remodel. And you did a fabulous job with this. Can you tell us a little bit about this?
Yeah, absolutely. So the kitchen space, that large island, was more of prep space and workspace versus sitting and talking and gathering space. Every time I go over there, the cat may be on the island and all the dogs are laying on the cold floor underneath the island. So again, it's repeating that feel of the farm feel and appreciating its surroundings and bringing in the wood detail. The floor is Peacock Pavers concrete tiles. So again, repeating the cleanability, keeping it very clean, and the cleanability of it, not necessarily keeping it clean. I don't know how clean you get to keep it every day when you live on a farm. But it, again, it has that rustic feel, but all of the modern amenities of today.
It's really terrific. And so then off of the kitchen, as you can see, part of the ceiling from the morning room is this family room, which at first glance, it appears old, and it appears very collected. You have wood paneling and a stone fireplace, turned English furniture, and yet a very comfortable, huge sectional sofa for this family. It just feels it feels layered, collected. It feels very inviting. It feels inviting for children as well as adults. So can you tell us what this room is for?
So this is the family room area, which is off of the breakfast room kitchen area that we just saw on the previous slide. And this is where everybody gathers to watch TV and to catch up on the day. The leather sectional, it is leather. And I love the fact that over time it continues to patina and kind of create its own history with, the kids eating snacks and the dogs up on it chewing on bones. It really does add that patina and history to a brand new piece of furniture. In this room, there are several pieces that were family members. The wing chair, for example, was a family member's, and we just had it recovered and worked into the space, which I love. The antique paintings that are in this space were her grandmother's. And it all goes back at the end of the day. Well, it's beautiful and it's collected. It's showing the history of both sides of the family with family pieces that they had, but giving it a fresh, modern feel. And being able to use all the pieces of furniture, pull out the beautiful, dining chairs that your grandmother may have had and add a new spin, put a slip cover on it, put a fabulous fabric on it, and let it kind of recreate a new history with it. And that's what we did in this space. And I love how this room does feel so old world, but yet at the same rate, it's new. I mean, it's been renovated.
Well, there are a couple of things here that actually make this room really work. And that is one, a lot of men would probably cringe at this, but you painted the ceiling white, because if that had been wood, it would have just been so heavy to have wood walls, wood ceiling. You've also got a fabulous window. That's a really great pair of windows down at the far end, and it opens up to this other, to the breakfast room and the kitchen.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of light in here, even though it's monochromatic and there's wood and brown. It works, and it's just the white really balances that out, and it comes off as very fresh, even though they're antiques and various layers to it. It still comes off as clean and contemporary.
Yeah.
Now this is the shot that if this was the cover for the October 2020 issue.
Oh, yes.
And if someone had shown me these photos, I would have, just these two photos, I would have assumed that this bedroom was in France, because you have this heavily carved antique bed, gingham, toile, framed botanicals. It just reads again as very authentic, collected, layered, and yet just very calm. That's a beautiful color on the walls. And just this subtle layering of all of these various textures and colors. But there's a great story behind this bed and this room. So I'll let you tell us about it.
So the bed got a facelift. The bed is a heavily carved bed, and it had been a family member's, and it had like a whitewash over it. And we tried to strip it down, but because it's so intricately carved in the detail, it was just impossible to get all of the existing paint that had been on it. So we had it painted to look like wood, and I think it turned out fabulous. Most people would look at the darker wood and say, oh, well, we'll just paint it white. It'll give it a whole new life. In this case, we reversed that. And we did. We wanted, again, bringing the outdoors in, and the wood tones and the green color on the walls really just kind of grounds the space and brings that nature in. And it is a very collected room, and which I love. And again, the bullion fringe that's on the settee to the right of the bed, it's just elements that you wouldn't typically see in a room like this. The framed botanicals just give the weight to the wall that it needs, again repeating, letting the nature in. So I love this bedroom. It is beautiful. And this is, everybody sleeps in here. The homeowners sleep in here. All the animals sleep in here. The dogs, the cats, not Sunny the miniature horse, but the dogs and the cats. And it really works for them.
That I had no idea that this was also the home to the bedroom was home to all of the animals. So this really is, it is the bedroom.
It is the bedroom. So it's, and again, getting back to nature, and that's what they wanted to feel, is to have everybody around them, and for that not to be a room that was, off limits just because, of the dogs or what have you. So that's what I love about this family, is they really are a unit and live in this home, and they're very gracious and very welcoming.
So this master bathroom, was the barrel vaulted ceiling there? Was this a complete gut again? You've got this the mixture of stone and wood, the white walls, the great natural light from these windows. All of these elements really combine. Even though these are a lot of very strong, hard surfaces, it's very calm and just inviting and peaceful.
Mm-hmm. It is. And yes, this bathroom was a complete gut job. The barrel vaulted ceiling and the stone around the window were added. It is all new. It's probably been about 7 years or so since the first floor renovation has been completed. It's a large process over time, and it's beautiful. And again, with all the stone and the wood, it's bringing, the nature in. And it is calm. And it's, you have antique pieces with the mirrors and the sconces, with the newer pieces like the copper tub and the wood barrel vaulted ceiling. I think adding all of these elements just really adds that layer and texture that people want to feel calm and peaceful, but cozy at the same time when you're in your own home.
It's a beautiful bathroom. One of the things that's also nice about it is a lot of times we're seeing massive bedrooms that are actually and bathrooms that are actually huge rooms. This feels like a very accessible space that everything is there that they need, but it's not this huge, huge room.
Cold feeling bathroom.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. It feels very inviting and comfortable and just really pretty. Now, this next photo is the one that really tells the story of this homeowner, um, and and how they really live on this property and what their hobbies are.
they do. So kind of going back to one of the previous questions is the list of requirements that, the husband said, okay, we can do this if you find all these different elements on this property, was he had to be able to hunt the property and fish and, the horses and all. And this is the case. I mean, they're avid sportsmen. And that really kind of shows in this space. Again, they have newer pieces. In fact, that Chesterfield sofa is a new piece mixed in with the antique chair that we put the like muslin slip cover on, and it works. You have the new with the old and that layer and the texture, and showing some of what his hobbies are, and also in kind of the land management of the property, what happens with the overpopulation of deer and what have you. So it all goes back to the land and how they pay the respect to the land and really kind of elevate the land and their spaces.
Okay, so the next one is when this house, so we've gone from the very formal um, entry and the more formal front rooms, if you will, of the formal
Mhm.
living room and dining room. Excuse me, and the transition happens in that kitchen and family room area. When you get downstairs, you really start to feel a much more rustic. This house really, but it all segues very well. But by the time you get down to this bunk room, this great bunk room and the mud room, this is where this house is really lived in for this family with their children and the way they live and work on this farm.
Absolutely. So the room on the left is kind of what I call the tack room. It's where the fishing rods and the waders and all of the outdoor gear that you would need for, hunting, fishing, horseback riding is stored in this one area, which is so wonderful. Um, the basement was a newer renovation that they did probably 3 years ago. And in that space, kind of keeping in mind, was for the kids, because they did move outside of the country. Their home has become kind of the hub for their children. After football games, everybody comes back to their house. After big events, homecoming parties and things, everybody comes back to their home to spend the night and to hang out. So the bunk room was just one of the many ways to provide sleeping areas for, their home being kind of the grand central station for all of the kids. And the detail in the wood of the bunk beds is just beautiful.
Was that wood that was sourced from their property, or is that?
Yes, some of it was, but because of the large amount of wood that was needed, some of it is reclaimed and some of it was sourced from the property.
Right. So these are two vignette shots or tighter shots that Emily took, but I think they're really interesting because I think they really speak to this house. And when I say curated and collected, these are sometimes disparate objects that come together just to create a beautiful vignette. Um, the the their antlers, horns, quill, glass, tortoiseshell, porcelains, everything is in this house. So I found this very interesting. And then the shot on the right is this powder room that you can tell us about that, because when I first saw this photo, I assumed that that was a hand painted mural. And I thought, oh, isn't that interesting how that relates to this whole organic outdoor farm aesthetic that they've created here?
Absolutely. So we'll start with the bathroom. The what looks like the hand painted mural is actually wallpaper
Sorry.
from anthropology that the homeowner found, and it's beautiful. I mean, it really depicts nature, but yet it's formal at the same time with all of the different elements. It is it is such a juxtaposition from what you would expect to find on a farm, and in with the reclaimed wood on the vanity and the marble and the travertine on the sink. It is it's gorgeous, and it's, believe it or not, it's one of the most commented items on for this home that I've gotten people asking me, where did the wallpaper come from? Oh my God, it's beautiful. So I do love that bathroom. The items, the little vignette on the left is actually all of these items or items that she has had. A lot of the horns and the turtle shells and things were foraged from the property that, you know, have been found or left by nature. You know, the deer shed their horns, and instead, you know, displaying it, and again, kind of going back and honoring the property and the surroundings that they're around. I just, this is such a special home. Everything is so collected, and um you know, if you ever need anything, she has this wonderful room downstairs that I call her treasure trove. I said, oh, we need this or this. She goes, hold on, I think I may have that downstairs. Just because, you know, oftentimes people get, you know, family pieces handed down and I don't want them, I don't want them. But she's the exact opposite. Give me those pieces, let me use them, and let them, you know, tell their own story.
So let's see. We do have a question. Um, so I have to apologize to you on this, Jay, about the screen. I tried to get this to screen share, and I apologize. I could not do it. So I will work on that. That's a technical glitch on my end, so I do apologize for it. But this will be available on YouTube, this presentation, and we will have this screen share properly. So anyway, my apologies on that. Are there any questions for Lauren as it relates to the project? Jay, I don't know if you could hear me. Could you hear me? Um, I said that I will be happy to look into this. This was a technical glitch on my end. And now I can't get Jay to go away. All right. If that's it, we would like to thank again Lauren Davenport Imber for this fabulous project. We want to thank again Signature Kitchen Suite for sponsoring this webinar. Again, everybody's Instagram is on this and websites, and you can find this issue on the Atlanta Homes and Lifestyles website and on newsstands. The magazine is actually still on newsstands, but what we'd like most is for you to subscribe. And thank you again. Let's see if there are more questions. Let's see what this is. Beth Casati has asked a question, and she would like to know, what is the green paint color?
The green paint color. Well, I wish I knew that right off the top of my head, but I don't. But I will be more than happy to share that with you. If you will send me an email, I will be happy to give you that paint color.
Okay, and I think that that is all. And again, my apologies to everybody for the screen sharing problem. And oh, here's another question
Oh, good.
from CLM 3050. Are the white walls plastered?
Some, well, above the kitchen, in the kitchen, above the range, that is plastered. The other walls are, most of the walls are wood, so it's the painted wood, but no, the other walls are just drywall.
Wow, I thought they were plaster too. That looks great. Well, Lauren, you did a fabulous job. It wouldn't surprise me
Thank you.
if this ends up being a quote ongoing project for this family as they continue to live on this large piece of property, and as the house evolves and they continue to evolve and live there. So I think it's a beautiful project. I think it's immediately when you see this, as I said, it's refined, it's elegant, it's relaxing. It's just beautiful. Oh wait, we've got another question that just popped up. Two, in fact, Lisa Pinson has asked,
Mhm.
are any of the floors heated?
They are not, no. Well,
Okay.
I take that back. In the bathroom, in all the bathrooms, the floors are heated, but in the common spaces, they are not heated.
Okay. And then the CLM 3050 has asked again, what company makes the ottoman in the outside area? Do
Is
you
she
know?
talking about the one that's on this photo right here?
Yes. I don't know if
I
it's that
think I
wicker
can
one
see it
or
on my screen. I have several different things. Oh, that ottoman, because there were a couple different ottomans on that out there. Kingsley Baked.
Kingsley Baked. Okay, great. Thank you. Um, and Jay Callis said, many thanks. Everything looks fantastic. So thank you, Jay.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
I'll work on my end. Lawrence was fabulous. I was the glitch, so I apologize.
No worries. It
Um,
happens. No worries.
so I don't know. Lauren and I went through this last week and it worked beautifully. And of course, we're on today and it was a little glitch, but you can see the project. It is a beautiful spread in the magazine, um, and you will see that. So thank you for being with us today. We look forward to our next webinar. And if you have any questions for Lauren, you can reach her on her website via her Instagram, or you can always send them to us at the magazine, and we will be in touch with her. I'm Suzanna Hamilton, the Home and Design Editor of Atlanta Homes and Lifestyles, and thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much, everyone. I hope you enjoyed.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. All right, are we still on?